up next, I'm going to be discussing something that is very, 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 I'm passionate about it as a matter of fact, because essentially I am a broadcaster. So up next, we'll be taking a look at the prospects and challenges of radio broadcasting industry. And I have with me my guest. He is a seasoned broadcaster in his own right. In fact, I like to call him a guru in that industry. Please help me welcome Mr. Ibrahim Pam. He's the Managing Director, CEO, AMAC Broadcasting Service Limited. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you for having me in your station today again.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So first of all, tell me what spurred your interest in the broadcast industry in the first place, and how has the journey been so far?
Well, thank you very much. Broadcasting is a very interesting industry. I remember far back then in those days when we were growing up in the early 90s, and we used to watch programs on NTA. I remember even in the late 80s, we used to watch some of these drama on NTA, and then of course, then we had only public broadcast stations, and we were so interested in the programs that they were reeling out until the advent of the private broadcast industry when it came up, during the IBB regime, and then we picked interest that what we used to listen to on radio, what we used to watch on TV, we also want to partake in it, and then it gave us that opportunity. So for me, what really triggered my interest in broadcasting is the fact that the kind of contents that we watched then on TV, the kind of contents that we listened to on radio were very enlightening, very educating, very entertaining. And we wanted to do something to be able to be part of the
Just
society.
be a part of it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, how can you say that? What has made radio stay relevant even in today's digital world?
Yeah, radio has always been very, very key in the socio-economic, setting of the nation, and then of course of the society generally. And what has made it very, very relevant, even though we still have this advent of new technologies, the fact that the kind of programs that are reeled out, in radio is very different from what you can find in the other, in the aspect of the digital technology. Because if we're talking about digital technology now, we're looking at the social media, which dominates the industry, so to say. And then the kind of contents that you see there are not verifiable. Most times are not verifiable, and they are subject to what I've just saw on social media now. Is it true? But on the normal radio, terrestrial radio broadcasting, there are rules that guides the industry. Rules from the National Broadcasting Commission, rules from other key players to ensure that whatever stories you give out through the media are verifiable. And it is control, there's this kind of control. That's what makes it, very relevant. So whatever you see on the social media today, is garbage in, garbage out. But then what you get to hear on radio, your terrestrial radio, or what you get to watch on television are verifiable facts. So that is what makes radio to become very, very relevant. Whatever information you get on radio is reliable.
Yes, because most of the time it will come with a source,
Exactly.
verifiable source.
Exactly.
Interesting. Because given how the broadcast industry has evolved, over time, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges facing the radio broadcast industry?
To be frank with you, there are myriad of challenges in the industry. Over time, we've had this issue. First of all, let's look at the economic aspect of it. The issue of power is a critical challenge, okay, in the industry. Now, each time you hear of the collapse of the national grid, and then broadcast industries will have to now begin to think of alternative sources of energy, solar, generating sets. Even my station, what I do now is my station, 24 hours I run on solar. because the public means cannot be relied upon again. That is challenge number one, power. Then, of course, another challenge is the issue of equipment. Broadcast equipment is a capital intensive venture. They are quite expensive, particularly the kind of equipment that are in vogue now. Even in those days, the equipment, okay, if you want to use the analog equipment, nobody uses analog equipment anymore. So the digital equipment, the so-called digital equipment, are very, very expensive. And then looking at the exchange rate of our currency now to the dollar, because all these equipment are imported from different countries. So whichever country you're going to be importing this equipment from, you can be rest assured that you will pay for it dearly, because of the exchange rate. And then, of course, the issue of training, unlike, the public stations like NTA and FRC and VON, they have their various training institutions. NTA has what we call the TV college in Jos. FRC is running the NBA in Ikeja, Lagos. That's where they train their staff. And then the challenge generally has been that of lack of training, lack of capacity building for practitioners, particularly in most of the public, in most of the private institutions. And then, of course, issue of content, where you don't have the proper content, where people just go there and they just give you out anything because they have the microphone, they have the lens to them, the lens of the camera, so they just go out and say anything, or they do anything. Next thing is they start opening the phone lines and they expect people, callers to call and then make their opinion on one thing or the other. So lack of proper content development and management is also a key challenge, one of the key challenges in those industry. It goes on and on, so many of these challenges.
Let's check how the advent of social media has impacted the radio broadcast industry. Would you say it has propagated or it has hampered any progress?
To be frank with you, the social media has improved the broadcast industry to a great deal.
Great. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it has improved the industry in the sense that, most of our young people today, they prefer to use their phones, their iPhones, their Android phones, their iPads, their systems, to, by just a click of the button, they know what is happening the world over. And it has helped greatly because most of the stations now who are also utilizing or deploying those technologies, are getting value for that. But then in most cases, when because the social media is not regulated, so to say, to some extent, therefore those quacks, have also taken.
They're thriving as well.
Exactly, to compete with the professionals who are making use of the social media, to send out whatever kind of information they need to send out to the public. But it has helped greatly because it has been able to give a wider space for users. These days now, people don't sit down to say, okay, I want to go and listen to radio, I want to watch television. So they just use their phones and, by the click, and they see everything happening. So it has helped greatly.
That's nice. All right, we'll take a short break at this point. When we come back, we have a whole lot more into this very insightful discussion. Welcome back. This is still Good Morning Abuja on the Unity Station if you're just joining us, and we are discussing the challenges and of course prospects of radio broadcast industry. And I have a guru and a veteran in his own right on the hot seat, Mr. Ibrahim Pound.
Thank you very much.
In an era of so much online streamings, podcasts, how can radio stations remain very competitive and of course stay relevant? Do they have to do something with their programming, or what do they need to do?
I think I started establishing this before now. What makes a radio station remains in business, especially in this era of podcasting and streaming, is the fact that the station should transit from the normal operations, from the normal terrestrial operations, and then also look at ways by which it can diversify its operations. Now, there are programs that you can move over to the podcast. There are programs that you can move over to the other social media handles. Now, Most times, what radio stations do these days is they stream live. They stream live either on
Great.
Facebook or YouTube, or they can do that simultaneously during their programs, maybe during their news or their flagship programs. So what they do is to stream, and that gives them more audience because, like I said initially, most of our audiences now they don't have the time to go and tune to a radio station to listen to a program or to listen to news or to listen to any announcement or to even listen to adverts. But if you stream, if you now engage the social media, it gives you a wider audience because most of the audience have now relocated, they have transited, they have moved from terrestrial to social media. So radio stations become more relevant if they are able to deploy the use of this technology, the social media technology.
Great. Thank you so much. I remember growing up and just conceptualizing all kinds of program synopses, from different diverse angles. So today, what are the opportunities that would exist for upcoming broadcasters and content creators in radio?
The first opportunity there is that you must be a trained broadcaster, you must be a professional, you must go through the formal training institution, you must go through the university to study mass communication, you must go through, we have other institutions that also teach, of course, the same courses, journalism, and so on and so forth. So the opportunities are there. You don't just wake up from the blues and say, okay, I want to do radio broadcasting. The first step is that once you go through that training, you acquire the knowledge. Now, after the knowledge, what next is to begin to apply that knowledge, to put it into practice. Now, you must learn how to develop content. You must learn how to package this content. You must also know the kind of audience that you are looking at. The audience, who will find this content relevant to them. And then you look at the business angle of it. The business angle of it is, okay, how do I bring in advertisers, okay, to take advantage of my platform to be able to sell their products or their services during my program, on my station. That is the business angle of it. And then, of course, you also have to think out of the box because, okay, looking at how how most of these professionals go about it these days is a different ball game. They look at the different stations, what they offer. They try to do a different thing altogether, and then they do what we call research to find out from the audience what are they yearning for, what are they looking for in a radio station or in a television station. So they come up with those kind of contents. So these are the kind of things that are required, of you to do,
All
to thrive
right.
in the
I wish we
industry.
could go on and on, but time is no longer on our side. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
I have learned a whole lot
Thank you.
speaking with you.
Thank you.
Well, stay with us. It's the Monday edition of Good Morning Abuja. We have more tips coming your way after the break.